Trinesha Catrell.
Hi, this is Trinesha Catrell, and welcome to First Love Yourself, where love, life, and Christ combine. I am so grateful to have you here on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment with me. In today's video, we're going to talk about your heart. But before we get started, if you're new here, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on more uplifting and empowering content like this. So get comfortable because we are about to get into it. Let's go. Okay, so earlier today I was reading the Bible, and this was the part of the Bible where there was a lady who she dealt with an issue of blood for 12 years, and she touched the hem of God's robe. Sorry. She touched the hem of Jesus' robe, and she was immediately healed. And then there was a guy there whose daughter was sick, and he wanted Jesus to come and heal his daughter. But Jesus waited and healed this lady with the issue of blood first, then came to help his 12-year-old daughter. And the lady had struggled with the issue of blood for 12 years as well. And so, as he went to go help this man before he went to go leave, the disciples were like, "Don't bother the teacher with this. The girl is dead. Like, how can he help you now?" But they had no faith because Jesus wasn't only performing that miracle, he was performing another one. And when he said, "Have faith," he could help him. It made me think of how sometimes our heart posture is wrong. Sometimes we can feel like we want to do certain things in life and we might receive a blessing. We might get the job, we might get the house, we might get the man, the car, whatever it is. But if your heart posture is not good, if you're not receiving it with a grateful, cheerful servant's heart, if you are not being understanding, if you're not willing to listen, then all of those things will be more of a curse than a blessing. And today, God has really been getting on me, showing me to make sure that my heart is correct, to make sure that my heart posture is right to receive the blessings that He has for me. And I think that's the way that we should all be. Like, and I'm not saying do something that I wouldn't do. I'm saying it because I'm getting on myself. When I'm talking in these videos, I'm saying it because it's something that I need to check myself on. I need to make sure that I stay on top of the things that I'm doing in life, and I'm doing the things that are pleasing to God. I'm not here for myself. I'm here for the mission. I'm here for what it is that God wants me to do. If the pastor said something earlier today in a sermon, he said, if you're doing something because you want to glorify yourself, if you're doing something because you think it's about you, then you got the wrong mindset. Because regardless of what that blessing is, God is not just blessing you for yourself. He's blessing you so that other people around you can see the blessings that you receive. He's doing it so that other people can be blessed by your blessing. He's not doing it just so you can boss up and look good to everybody else, so that you can floss on people, so that you can be looking like you got it all together and all going on. He's blessing you so that you can bless somebody else. All of your blessings are for you to help somebody else. It is not about you. And when God said that, I said, ooh, I said, I got to remember that. I got to remember to be selfless in life, because sometimes it's easy to only think about yourself. And I'm not talking about self-care and self-love. You should always do that. But I'm talking about when you forget that other people exist. When you are so busy worried about how you feel, you don't realize that the person next to you is crying. When you're so busy focused on your own life that you don't stop to understand and seek to understand what someone else is going through and empathize with them because of your own issues, because of your own things that are going on in your own life. And compassion and understanding is something that I think that we're lacking in this world. And it's not just for the world, it's for myself as well. Sometimes I can be so focused on the things that are going on in my life that I forget about other people. I forget that everybody's going through something. I forget that I'm not the only person who might be struggling in this area, and I might be able to help someone else. If I'm struggling, I can't be the only one. So maybe what I'm learning will be able to help somebody else. But in order for us to do that, we have to be able to do these things. So I created an acronym with the help of Jesus. Jesus, he's in control of everything. So ignore me. Just listen to the words, right? And I hope that it penetrates your heart and that it helps you in some sort of way. So that I have, okay. I don't know what happened there. And hopefully it's still going. But that was weird. The video is still going, but it like kind of paused a little bit. I don't know what that's about. Hold on, let me go out and in. All right, there we go. Now we're back. It was so weird. I just set up this new connection. So, side note, right? Not trying to be off course or anything like that, but I feel like it's important to be transparent and tell you what's going on so you know it's just not me being random, right? So earlier today, I had a bunch of technical issues, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do?" I got up early. I thought I was gonna be so prepared and doing all the things that I needed to do, and I was starting to get a little frustrated. I'm not gonna lie, right? And I believe that this was all a test because when you pray, you really gotta be conscious of what you're praying about because God will send you the thing that you prayed for, and if your heart's not ready for it, if you're not ready for it, it's going to be crazy. It is going to really feel like it's a curse more than a blessing. And so when you're asking God for something, make sure you're really prepared for it. Make sure you really prepare for that new position at work. Make sure you're really prepared to be CEO of a company. Make sure you're really prepared to be bossed up. Make sure you're really prepared for that man that you prayed for because God will send you these things. But if you're not ready, it's going to be disastrous. It's going to literally be a burden instead of a blessing. So I was sitting here having all of these internet issues, and my heart posture was all wrong for real. Like I tried to hold it together so bad. I was good for like a good 3 hours, and after the third hour, it's like, whoo, I was about to start saying the Lord's name. Like I was like, Jesus, help me. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I need you right now. And so I was really struggling. Like the struggle was real. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I was like, oh, the internet's messed up. I'm good. No, I was like, oh, I was like, I don't know what to do right now. And so I started praying, of course, and then I tried to work things out myself at first. I could have probably prayed at the beginning and it would have gotten fixed, right? But sometimes we really try to fix things on our own because we feel like we can solve a problem better than Jesus can. And that is where our heart posture, that is where egotism, egotism and arrogance need to go out of the window, and we need to humble ourselves so that when we do need help with something, we ask for the help that we need. You don't have to do everything on your own. There are people around you that God blessed you with to be able to help you, and that's what I've been working on. I've been working on trying to just receive the help that God has given me and not just trying to do everything by myself because if God wanted you to do it by yourself, He wouldn't have gave you family members, He wouldn't have gave you friends, and He wouldn't have gave you people in your life who are there to be able to help you with the things that you're going through. You were never meant to carry a burden alone. You were always meant to have people around you who God sent to be a part of your life. And so let me go ahead and get into this lesson. So the first thing is the H for heart, and it's an acronym that spells heart. It's for hearing, for listening. Sometimes our heart posture is off because we're not willing to listen. We're not willing to hear what it is that God wants to say. We're not willing to fast to be able to hear God's words, or willing to set aside our own thoughts, our own emotions, our own things that we want for the things that God wants in our life. And so when we're doing things in life, it's important for us to really, for those of us who have ears, let us hear. It is really for us to really be seeking to understand what it is that God is telling us, what it is that we need to be doing in this season of our lives, and not just thinking, me, me, me. It's all about me. What do I want? What do I need? No. What would be beneficial to the world? What would be beneficial to the kingdom? What is it that I can do that can really propel us forward instead of holding us back? That is the thing that I think is so important for us to do because sometimes we want to get our point across so bad that we don't take the time to listen to other people. We don't really take the time to really take accountability and say, you know what, I was wrong. After listening to it through your point of view, through your perspective, I really do see where I messed up and I'm sorry. And a real I'm sorry, not a, oh, I'm sorry you felt that way. No, listen, I'm sorry. That was never my intention. I I was only thinking about this. I was not thinking about how you felt about this. And knowing that it affected you in this way, I truly apologize. That's how you do it. It's not about you blaming the other person. It's not about you saying that you're wrong about everything. It's about you really acknowledging that somebody else has feelings and they have every right to feel however it is they feel in any situation. and taking accountability for yourself. You might not have meant it that way, but if you really hurt somebody and you care about them, then you should really consider their feelings. The next thing is E, example. Sometimes we be so ready to just put this huge standard on other people of how they should act, how they should be in a situation. If I had money like that, I would act like this. If I had this kind of house, I would do this. If I had this kind of car, I would do this. If I had this kind of man, I would do this. We always have this example of how we gonna treat people, what we gonna do in certain scenarios, what we gonna how we gonna spend this money we ain't got yet. And the whole time when you get in that position, you don't act like the example that you want to see. If you really want something in life, if you really want that thing, then you have to be the change that you want to see in the world. You have to be willing to set an example for your nieces, for your nephews, for the people around you, because sometimes you're the person that's got to be the one that sets the example. And you might not look like everybody else, and that's the point. If you're really trying to change things, it's not going to look like you being a copy paste of every other person in the world. It's going to be looking like you being different, you being uh, unique individual. So be the example that you want to see. The A is for attitude. Mm, mm. I used to have the worst attitude. Sometimes I slip up a little bit. I'll be like, I gotta check my attitude at the door because I can't act like this. I'm too old to be acting like this. And so you really have to take a moment and compose yourself. You really have to have that compassion and that patience and that ability to really just be able to seek to understand and to really be able to listen to someone else, to hear what they're saying and listen to what it is that they're saying. You really have to say, I'm not just going to go in here just because I feel this way. And you have every right to your emotions again, but just because you're mad doesn't mean you need to be angry and treat people badly. It might mean that you need to have compassion and say, okay, I might have time today, but God didn't make me to act like this in this situation. I might need to stand up for myself and have standards and boundaries, but I do not need to treat people like trash just because they have a bad attitude. I remember there was this one person I came across, and they were so mean. Like, they would say, oh, yeah, I'm doing this, this, and this. And they would be so rude and nasty and mean. And this was during the time where everybody on every social media page was saying, yeah, keep that same energy. Like the whatever energy somebody gives me, I'm gonna give back to them. And I'm like, I really, I'm not gonna lie, I tried it out, right? And it was so, it didn't fit me. It wasn't fitting at all for my personality, for the type of person that I'm trying to be. And it really made me feel like crap because I knew I wasn't that type of person. And sometimes when people are nasty or rude, you just have to keep true to who you are. If you're a good person, if you have a kind heart, if you are someone that's nice, it's not about you being a doormat and letting people walk all over top of you. I do not agree with that at all. Not even a little tiny bit. But it is about you not being nasty just because someone else is being nasty. Maybe you walk away. Maybe you say, don't talk to me like that, and you keep it moving with your life. Maybe you let people know how to treat you, and then you just keep it moving. It's not about you saying in a nasty, like doing a whole roll of the neck and a snap of the fingers. It is about you just making sure that you have something that you're standing on, that you respect and honor yourself, and you treat people the way that you want to be treated. You don't become someone's doormat. You don't just fall for anything. You stand for something. And when you're talking to someone, you talk to them in the way that you want to be talked to. And you let people know when they cross the boundary. Because people don't know unless you put it there. They just gonna think you just all go with the flow. You just flowing all around. But the whole time you got a standard. And so you gotta stick to it regardless. People gonna try to sway you and tell you who they want you to be, but you gotta know who you are so that people don't move you from standing in your position because you're there for a reason. The next thing is remember. Remember what it is that needs to be done. Remember why you're doing it. Sometimes our heart posture is wrong because we don't have a good example of where we want to go. We don't know, like, and I don't mean you need an example from someone else. I mean, sometimes we are looking at different things and we're thinking, I'm just going to do it this way because that's all I want to do right now. And you forget what your end goal is. Sometimes We go through life and we have some struggles, some trials, some tribulations, some storms, and we forget that God already came through in the past. Sometimes we have to remember all the time. We have to remember that God brought us through the situation before, and this is not the last time that He's going to bring us through it. Just because you haven't seen it come to fruition yet doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. It means it hasn't happened yet. You are on the journey to the thing that you prayed for, and you have to be patient. And I know it's hard. I don't have no patience. I've really been working on it. I've been praying about it. Jesus been putting me in situations to test my patience. And some days I be doing better, and some days it be a struggle. I'm not gonna lie. And so I really be trying to keep it together. And so I think it's important for us, and a good way to keep our heart posture good is for us to remember that God already came through in the past, that this thing that we're going through is not going to last always. Joy comes in the morning. I know I'm quoting songs, but it's so true. And so we have to remember that. We have to remember that Jesus is going to come through. Just like he did for the guy whose daughter passed away and he brought her back to life. And he said, what is it? Talitha Kaum. I'm not even saying it right, but you know what I mean. Little girl, get up, right? Just like he did that for her to arise and get up out of the dead, even when other people thought that it was impossible. But remembering that God it stays true to his promises, remembering that if he came through in the past, he's going to come through again, will help you make it through whatever it is that you're going through. Have a good support system around you, because you can't have the naysayers on your shoulder talking about some, yeah, that's why I don't believe in that God stuff. You need somebody like, yes, and my God came through in the past and he's gonna come through again. Let me tell you about my God. He woke me up this morning. He started me on my way. He put food on my table. Another song. I don't know why these songs are coming in my spirit like this, but still true. But it's important for us to remember the goodness of God, to remember everything that he brought you through in the past. Keep a little notebook or a little post-it notes of things that you keep around the house in every room. Put a reminder of the things that God brought you through in the past. And when you're going through a struggle, when you're going through a storm, you will quickly remember how blessed you truly are. The last thing is T, trust in God. Sometimes our heart posture is wrong because we forget that God will come through. We forget that he's a God that he cannot lie, and everything he promised us, it will come to fruition. When you forget to trust in God, when you forget that you're not doing this alone, it it can sometimes trick you into thinking that it's impossible, but everything's possible with God. You have to remember that if you're trusting in him, that's all you need. If God is for you, he's more than the whole world against you. He is going to make sure that you have everything that you need in life, even when it looks like a little bit. Use that little bit up. Use everything that God is giving you, everything that you got so far. Use it to the best of your advantage. Be a good steward of it, so that way when God blesses you with more, you got to go on. Like, you really be like cutting yourself short, really thinking that you're not that person, but you're really that person. So when you remember to trust in God, you know he already brought you through. You know that you can accomplish things through God. So if he's with you, you can't fail. It doesn't matter what it looks like to other people. Sometimes people need to see the example so they can see you level up. You know what I'm saying? And so just remember that when you're going through things, and keep your heart posture good, because that's how you move up to the next level. That's how you receive everything that God has for you. So continue to listen, to seek to understand, to be the example that you want to see in the world. And know that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Trusting in God is not easy sometimes, especially when you're going through something hard, but you will make it through. Always remember to trust God, and first,